here in the patrol vehicle with Officer Gary Rohland, and we are bringing you the very first ever segment of Behind the Badge. Gary is a city officer with Martinsville Police Department. Gary, how long have you been with the department?
I'm in my 6th year full-time. I served as a reserve police officer for about a year before I was hired full-time.
What made you decide to become a police officer?
Started with a dream, and I met a man named Dennis Snell, which I'm sure you guys, everybody knows as Lieutenant Dennis Snell from the Martinsville Police Department. Recently retired, stayed on as a reserve to do the DARE program. But I met him when I was 6. And he made a good impact on me, you know, would come and let me ride with him. And just growing up around the city, 37, and I've lived here almost all my life. There was a couple years I moved away, but I came right back. My mom worked for the city and retired from the city, so I grew up around a lot of the law enforcement and city workers, so I know quite a few of them.
What improvements have you seen since you started on the police force to now?
There's been several. Obviously, equipment's improved tremendously. I remember starting as a reserve. I started actually in 2003 at a different department, and we wrote tickets and did crash reports on paper. Now everything's done on computers, laptops, and I have a tablet. Everything was done on paper, and it wasn't simplified as it is now, you know, with timesheets being handwritten, different things like that.
Does that make it easier for you guys to respond to calls?
Absolutely. The computer tells us what we're going on. Possibly in the info line could be information of what's happening on this call. It's always good. The more information, the better, because we don't want to just run into something and be blindsided.
What is the police department's involvement with the youth of the town?
I think we're very involved. We've got the DARE program that started back up, which is awesome. Sergeant Murphy and Dennis Snell are doing that. We recently, the police department got involved with the school system, having a class there at the high school. Sergeant Murphy's the teacher there. We do bike patrol. We also do we just did the bike roundup, or rodeo I think it's called, there at the Morgan County Fair. So we get involved with the kids there. I put on a little class there at John R. Wooden Middle School. They've asked me back several times, so I must be doing something right. And I give a presentation and take a guest speaker with me. Overall, I think our community activity with juveniles are at the highest. I mean, it starts there. They're our future, so we've got to start there.
Absolutely, and I think that is so awesome, and I think that's such an important thing to have, especially in a small, tight-knit community such as ours. What's your day like?
My day starts out at about 6 a.m. That's when I come into work. So I'm actually up about 5 a.m. to get ready. So I come in, my day is pretty good, really. I work with a lot of great people and get to work in the city that I grew up in, so it's kind of nice knowing where a lot of things are and knowing a lot of people that I might or might not have contact with, you know, at any given point. But for the most part, it's not too bad. I like to drive around and patrol a lot, check buildings and houses and talk to people and wave at people, and just overall just community policing. You know, it makes for a better police department.
And what do you think some of the advantages are of being an officer in a small town such as ours versus in a larger town like, say, Greenwood or Indianapolis?
Well, we're a smaller community, so it makes it, you know, we're a tighter knit group.
I'll be 27 on that, just north of Turkey Track.
Obviously, the brotherhood of law enforcement is, I'm trying to turn this down a little bit. Sorry, I had to turn that down. Sorry about that. So we're a close knit group, you know. I mean, obviously your law enforcement is the brotherhood of the Thin Blue Line, and so we're always, you know, we're going to be close. But as far as the community coming together when disaster strikes, you know, the floods, tornadoes, I mean, it's so close knit. I mean, everything stops for that moment in a small town, and everybody helps each other. There's no arguing over this or over that. It's, hey, let's help. Let's all come together. Let's make this right. Let's help each other, because we are a small town, and it's great because I know just about everybody. I know it sounds weird like that, and some people say, well, wouldn't you want to live somewhere else where you don't know people? No, I don't. I want to work in the community that I live in because I can make it better. I want to make it better for not just me and my family, but I want to make it better for, you know, the entire community, people that I grew up with, people that I've known all my life. And that's what I love about a small town. You get that small town warm heart feeling of fall foliage festivals. You got parades, you've got carnivals, you've got Artie Fest, just all these great things, you know, where everybody comes together and has a great time.
Okay, so let's take a second and talk about the events. You brought up Fall Foliage Festival, which I know is coming up. How did the National Night Out go? I know that's the first time that the police department has done something like that around here in a long time. And I came down, took some footage and covered it a little bit. I would like to know how you felt that it went from your side.
From my side, I don't know numbers wise. I'm sure there's somebody keeping track or trying to. I thought for a first year, it was great. I thought we had a lot of people show up. I was kind of worried. I was worried as for me. I just thought, well, you know, the fair's in, numbers might be down, but hey, it proved me wrong. We had lines. We had, I was showing off my car, and I had a lot of, you know, people lined up at the car wanting to see the car, and they had the SWAT truck there. I think we had a great turnout, and for me, just looking around, it seemed pretty busy.
So I had a great time, and there were so many people. The free cone of ice that the police department provided for everybody was the absolute perfect touch. It was a warm day, and that was great. I did enjoy the dunk tank, watching a couple of the officers get dunked in the water. That was pretty fun. What do you feel that does for the community?
Well, I think it's good. It gives the community something to do, especially youth. I think it's good for a family night out. There ain't nothing better than getting together and going out and doing something, you know, that costs nothing for them to do. You know, at the National Night Out, we had a bounce house, like you said, cone of ice, hot dogs, drinks, and it gives the police department also something to do, because I feel that there's not a whole lot of time that we get to just hang out and talk to each other. You know, yeah, in passing or at dinner, but it's totally different when we're able to hang out for 2 or 3 hours and actually just have fun ourselves while watching everybody else have fun. I think small, you know, like the Fall Foliage Festival, I love it. Oh, and don't forget, I do believe we have the Halloween, the haunted thing going on again this year. So Officer Hoffman, Dawn, she does a great job at that. She enjoys it very much, and she did a heck of a job last year putting it together.
Are you guys doing anything for Fall Foliage, or are you guys just keeping an eye and making sure things go smooth?
As far as the PR part, public relations, I don't know. You would have to get with Dawn. She does all of that. I know as far as officers being there, you'll see us in and out walking around. There'll be some there overnight, making sure everything's okay. We'll have our reserves out working the parade route and making sure everybody stays behind the barricades and no cars are on the parade route. But as far as that goes, I mean, we'll be out and about all day long, and if we get a second where we can stop in and walk around and mingle with everybody, that's what we do.
All right, I think that's going to conclude the first part of Behind the Badge. I want to say thank you to Matt Long, Gary Rohland, and the rest of the entire Martinsville Police Department for letting me come out and do this. This was all Gary's idea. was a great idea. I love this idea. Cannot wait to get involved in this a little more, see where it goes down the line, how much we can elaborate on. I think we're gonna go to the park. Gary get out of his uniform and stuff for today. I'm sure it's warm today, so I'm sure it's a little hot. We'll see you soon. Part 2 of Behind the Badge, here with Gary Rohland. Tell us a little bit about Gary the person, not Gary the police officer.
Like I said, I'm 37, pretty much a lifetime citizen of Martinsville. Got 3 boys and been married. Well, I've been with my wife for about 19 years. Been married to be 15 this year. I like porch time, sitting and enjoying this kind of weather. Fall's my favorite. I like campfires, I like to fish. I hunt. If I'm not in one uniform, I'm in camouflage,
Right.
so you can't see me. I don't so much bow hunt. Not too good at that. Matter of fact, today I'm going out and setting up some of my trail cams. Basically, I'm family oriented. I like doing things with my family. I like barbecues and just enjoying time with friends and family and playing cards. That's one of my big ones. I love to play euchre and rummy. So
Nice.
a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
You know, I love it. I play about 2-3 times a week.
Really?
Yeah, I played 3 times this week already.
Holy cow.
Yeah, the last 3 nights in a row.
That's awesome. You just have friends come over? Or?
Yeah. I have my friends. The lady works with my wife, which is also my friend, and her husband, which is my friend. They come over a couple times a week and play, and then another friend of mine and his girlfriend come over and we play. They're new at it, so
Take it easy on them?
no, absolutely not.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely not. No way. But yeah, I enjoy cards a lot.
I know your boys are really involved in sports.
Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of coaching against you last year in intermediate.
Yeah.
I think we had the 2 worst record teams.
Yes,
out
absolutely.
there.
No other way to go.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was
I
a lot
love
of fun. And I know your oldest boy's getting into wrestling and stuff now, right? Or your middle boy?
Both. My oldest wrestles for the high school.
Mm-hmm.
Started varsity last year. He's also wrestling this year. And then my middle one started wrestling last year and wrestles for Wooden. And he's also wrestling this year. So started doing that and really enjoy that. They have a good time.
One question that I know that I would be curious about, that I am curious about, I'm sure other people would be too. When you get off of work, is it hard to kind of come out of that work mode?
It is. There's a lot of stress involved. We don't show it. There's a lot of things that we see that people probably should never see. Some off the wall things too sometimes that I wish I never heard. But yeah, it's hard to turn it off. I went to Florida this year for vacation with the family, and you know, we're always watching. If you're in law enforcement, you're always watching. You're watching your surroundings. It's just what we do.
Right.
It's part of our nature.
It probably becomes a force of habit at some point.
It really is. I can tell you that it's so bad that my kids, when we're in the car, spot expired license plates, so watch out.
Make sure your tags are up to date.
Yeah, no kidding. And I do it too. I'll be in Florida and call out vehicles that have expired license plates. So,
Right.
yeah, it really is hard to turn it off. I try. Really, you're never really off.
Right.
So,
Family vacation. How often do you get to do that?
try to go every year to do something. We went to Florida for a few days. We stayed there this year. We try to go once a year to do that, but that don't always happen. Regardless of what you hear, policemen aren't like rich or anything. I work if I added up, about 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. My wife works too. But as far as vacations, once a year, maybe a couple small vacations we might go. We plan on going to Michigan to do a fishing trip here later on in the fall sometime.
Nice.
Which I like to fish, and I think the family and some other families going. We're going to go do some salmon and trout fishing. So,
How many days a week do you work?
at the police department, I work 5 on, 3 off. It's a rotating schedule. A couple times a month at the schools, and I also work some of the football, basketball, volleyball games, whatever they might have us work.
And that's got to be awesome too, because that puts you right back in the mix with the kids.
Yeah.
Again, and I think that that's important, because when you're dressed like you are now,
Mhm.
and you're not on duty and you're just a normal civilian like everyone else, kids, they don't feel like there's that barrier there. It's nothing for, you know, like my son, if he were to see you out somewhere and run up and be like, oh, hey Gary, how are you? You know, and I think a lot of that comes from being involved with them, not only, you know, coaching baseball and football and stuff like that, but also being at those things and involved in those things at the schools.
I coached baseball. I didn't coach this year, but there for a while I was coaching Pee Wee up, and I coached an all-star team one year that I threw together real quick just to get some kids some play time. But you know, that's where some of the kids I coached are now juniors in high school, believe it or not. So, you know, coaching baseball, I've helped coach some of the junior league. I was assistant coach with JJ Steinway.
Sorry, camera died. Had to switch to a different one. Continue.
So I coached with JJ Steinway, our assistant coach with him in junior league football, and really, you know, I still walk around town and see some of these kids that call me coach or stuff like that. So it's kind of nice. They call it, you know, after all these years, still call me coach.
Yeah.
I do want to tell you that my son is a big fan of yours.
Oh yeah? That's awesome.
He has his own YouTube channel, and
what is it?
I don't even know. But
I will find it and I will link it in here. Don't worry.
He is a big fan and has some questions for you. So,
okay.
He wants to know what type of cameras you have and stuff. So,
okay.
He just got a couple new ones.
Nice.
So this is what he wants to do. So.
Well, we'll have to get together and I'll show him everything. It's really easy. It's more about getting comfortable in front of the dang thing first.
Yeah. He has no problem with that.
Right. Is it Hunter?
No, actually, it's my youngest, Braden.
Really?
Yes. Yep, he's 11, and he likes it.
They make the best videos too. The younger kids.
They're so funny.
They are, because they see things completely different than we see.
Oh, absolutely.
They still have that bit of innocence left, which is nice. I know you said you're like a porch guy. You like the fall, like to hunt and fish. Sounds like most of the activities you like to do kind of separate yourself from work. Quiet time.
Yeah.
Stuff where you're out and where your instincts aren't just naturally kicking in.
I like to, I don't like large crowds at all. I mean, I like concerts, but large crowds I don't like.
Okay, take 937. Okay, so we were talking about crowds and how you absolutely love giant crowds.
Oh, I hate crowds. I don't like big parties or big crowds or, 10, 15 people's okay, but any more than that, no, that's a big no.
Right.
But
well, it probably goes back to just everything that you've been taught and trained. You probably, once it gets so big, it's probably instinct. I mean, I would assume just kind of kicks in.
That might be part of it. I've never really been like a fan of crowds though. I don't know. I'm weird like that. Fun fact is, I'm also like OCD kind of. So my car, I try to keep it as clean as possible and make sure my socks match. And
socks matching are so huge.
I don't like wrinkles in clothes.
Yeah, my wife does not understand why my socks need to match.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they have to be the same tint and everything. Because see, I wear black socks to work, so they have to be the same tint.
Right.
I can't do that. That would drive me insane. I mean, basically, I'm just an everyday person, just like everybody else. I just have, the title of patrolman for Martinsville. I'm a police officer. No different than anybody else. We just have a duty that we're sworn to uphold, and that's what we do.
Well, Gary, I'm sure I can speak for a lot of us in this town that we really appreciate you guys and what you do. We really appreciate the time that you take out of, especially even when you guys aren't on duty, to interact with the kids or just community members or be involved in stuff. It's so important for the infrastructure of the town to try to help guide kids and our youth onto the right path so they don't make some of the mistakes their parents have made or their uncles or their friends or people that they know. I'm extremely fortunate that my daughter was nothing like me and was a great kid. And so I never had to worry about her. Now my boys,
a little wild.
Yeah, they get to be a little crazy sometimes.
I mean, they're boys. That's what mine are a little wild too. So
I really appreciate you taking the time to out of your day to even, to do this interview and stuff with me. I think it's important for people to see you guys not just as police officers, but as residents of this community and just regular everyday people as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me do this. It was, we're people,
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted to do this for, is to show that we're just like you and everybody else. I just don't have cameras.
Right.
So I do have cameras.
Right. Just body cameras.
Yeah, different types of cameras. But yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate, like you said, Matt and Lachelle letting me do this, and hopefully you can do some more and get to meet some of the other guys they're just great guys, fun to be around and stuff.
Yeah, I hope we get to do that too. I'd like to sit down with a few of our K9 officers, talk about the dogs and all of that kind of whole thing. And I think that you guys do such a great job for the city. I think the city deserves to kind of see you guys in a different light than what they normally see you out patrolling around, or trying to deal with criminals or anything like that. I think it's going to be beneficial for both sides of the coin, for the police department and for the people that aren't police officers here in town. Because I tell you, I haven't met a bad Martinsville city cop. I haven't.
No, everybody has their own opinions, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But every officer on there has a heart just like everybody else.
Right.
And are good people. I mean, they actually care about people, and they care about what they do. It takes a special person to be a policeman, I think, and to be able to shut that off and on, and just to be a good human being outside of the badge. So
yeah.
I try. We all make mistakes, and we all have our flaws. I'm not perfect by no means, but I try to be. I try to do right by everybody and treat everybody fairly, whether I'm on duty or off. So thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming out and doing this.
Ain't no problem.
Yeah, so first episode of Behind the Badge with Officer Gary Rohland. Done it in the books. Awesome.